It is really starting to get colder outside. You need a lot of clothes on. So it's time to start winter prep Tilda, and I'm gonna show you my tips on how I winter prep my boat because it is really starting to get late fall and it won't be that long until everything starts to freeze and it will get covered in ice, and you don't want your boat to break from that, so you have to do a lot of things to prep for it. I can see some of the other boat owners here are building like tents over the boat, covering them up completely. I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna put the cover on to this, so not so much to protect the fabric, but when the snow comes I want it to just slide off easier. Another thing is that it got really humid when it's winter, and last winter I took all the cushions and all the fabric away from the boat and stored it in the storage, but obviously I don't have that opportunity this year, so I don't think this regular salt you put into the boat that's gonna attract like the moist and the humid and collects it, so you can just pour it out once in a while. I don't want to rely on it, at least. So I got myself a dehumidifier, so I'm really curious on trying that and see if I could keep it better this year. I also got a small, I don't know where it is, both thermometer and I don't know what it's called, so I can connect it to my phone so I can watch it even if I'm away from the boat, so I could see that this thing is working and it's not freezing. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna put a heater into the engine room so that if I'm away from the boat it could start up if it's getting colder, so the engine won't freeze. I think that's about what I would have time to do today. Things normally take twice as long as you think, so I'm just gonna get started opening this thing. If you choose a dehumidifier, difficult word, for your boat, there is different kinds of them, and you can find like really cheap ones and you can find super expensive ones, but the thing is that they have different techniques. So if you want to use one in a boat in the cold part of the year, you should definitely go for absorption dehumidifier. That could work even if it's cold. And the other thing is, if you expect that it might freeze, you should make sure that the one you pick actually can take that, because otherwise you just have like a big mass of ice in it, and that won't do any good. So I really hope I won't have any degrees below zero inside the boat this year, but if there will be a power shortage or something, I'm not too sure that that can't happen. So I got one that could actually run in even a few degrees of minus. I've never used one before, so I'm really curious about it. Good, this one isn't that big. I mean, you always lock space on little boats. This one would be perfect. Smells new. This is another good feature. There is both this one that collects the water, but there's also a hose. Put it as central as possible. Yeah, that'd be easy. Just in the middle of everything. Adjust what you want for humidity. I guess I would go for the highest of them, because I think if I could keep 60 in the boat during the winter, I'll be really happy. This is pretty much as much in the middle of the boat that it can be placed on Tilda. So continues. I don't know how you should think about the air angle it asks you to set. I guess it's just a matter of trying out what seems to work the best. Now I may not need to do this. I have all my cushions standing a little bit up to the sides. Just everything I can to keep more air circulation in the boat. Otherwise I only have, is it called a sun vent? I think so. It's a solar driven ventilator that keeps going all the time. It has a small battery inside, so even if I'm not here, or even if it's dark, or if it's been raining, the battery can keep it working. But this, I can already feel it circulates the air a lot more. I'm gonna just leave it for a while, a couple of hours, and do some other stuff. I'm gonna connect this little thing to my phone so I can keep following the temperature. I just curious to see when this thing turns off, because it's supposed to turn off at a certain level, so then it's going to be a nice way to see if this one is working. So what I'm going to do now is that I want to connect these things to connect them to a smart thing. So I got some smart sockets. It's good for me to see how much power consumption is there on the things I have on the boat, and especially on the heater, because if the heater is running a lot and I can see that the temperature is not rising, then I have a little bit of a hurry to go here to make sure there's nothing that get damaged by freezing. So since I want to sail more still, I don't want to winter conserve the engine yet, but there is -degrees, so hopefully putting a small heater in the engine room will make it possible to keep the boat in the water without winter conserving it for a little while more. It's still very nice days. It has been an incredibly nice fall. It's been cold, but it's been super beautiful. I have connected everything. I got the temperature sensor hanging here, and I have connected so I can see that the power consumption is what it's supposed to be. One other thing I do in the winter preparation is that I take the land power directly into the boat. This is something I wasn't aware of that is really good, that I learned quite recently, and the reason you do it is because to avoid the galvanic corrosion, since I'm going to run with power all the winter. So this is apparently a much safer way to do it. So this one has turned off now, so it's definitely saying that it's no more than 60%. So yeah, I'm happy so far. Now on to the next project of mounting the heater in the engine room. I decided the best place is to put it inside the hatch, because it's really hard to get to anywhere, and it should have quite a lot of free air around it, so it's not possible to put it anywhere. And this way it's also not in the way if you're doing any work in there. So I think it's going to be excellent. And this is of course heat protection, so it wouldn't be any harm to put it against. I think it's even better to put it towards this material than to put it directly to a wooden wall. So this one has now been on for about 30 minutes, and I decided I wanted a check. It doesn't like that I open it, and you can see it's already plenty of water. Plenty, but I haven't seen any of those salt solutions that you put in the water that can collect this much water in half an hour. So this far I'm really happy. I forgot one thing when I told you about this solar-driven ventilator that I was pleased with, but there is one problem with them, a huge problem, because the manual ventilators and also the 12-volt DC fans, they are the same size. It's a standard size for ventilators, but not those. Those are bigger. So if you just think like me, I can take the other one out and just plug this one in. No, you have to make the hole 1 centimeter bigger, and doing that in glass fiber, It's a lot of effort. It's just not to take a hole and just enlarge it. And they are also not made in the standard size drill dimension. And I thought just like I send this one back and I get another one that fits. But no, they are all the same. So I guess they are from like the same manufacturer, just branded differently. Just take that into consideration if you think of changing to one like this. Next part of winter preparation is to put antifreeze in everything that can freeze, basically, because I'm gonna be away from the boat sometimes. Normally, like when I winter conserve my engine, which I only done once, it sounds like I've done it like so many times, but it's just my second winter with the boat. But then I didn't think there was so much to choose from, but I made a little better research this year. So there is actually organic antifreeze that you can use both in like for example the toilet and the water tanks. Is I got both an internal and external system for the engine. I can use it also in the engine, which is really good because normally if you use the traditional ones, it's kind of poisonous, so you shouldn't use it so it can leak out to the nature. And since Tilda is in the water, it's a little bit difficult, especially when I'm here alone, to collect the wastewater. So this one much better. I'm not gonna do the engine today because I'll do it. I'm gonna change my Martec. That's gonna be hopefully the last thing I do with the engine, and hopefully it's gonna solve all my problems. At least I hope so. So I'm gonna wait until I've done that and until I've done some more winter sailing. But for now I'm gonna make sure like my water pumps are not freezing, my toilet is not freezing, and I'm gonna wait with the engine. Sealed very properly. I gotta find my knife. Completely safe for everything. Humans, environment, animals, rubber and stuff like that. But the mixing different for different temperatures. I think I'm gonna go with like 50-50. Then it take minus 28 with no expansion. Yep. I just gotta find something to mix it in. Well, since it's organic, I can use the buckets that I have for other stuff. I'm gonna get one. Shoot, I don't have water. They turned off the water on the dock yesterday. I can understand it because it's getting really cold, and of course they don't want the water system to freeze. But now I have to get water. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the marina indoors, get myself some water, mix it, and then I'll be back. So we don't have to go that far, just to the red house. The good part is that there is an indoor water house, so I guess I'm not sure how much I need for the first step of anything. But I take half of this and then I fill this up so I have the whole amount that is mixed. It's sad mixed. So first I'm gonna pour this into my freshwater tank, because from there I can run it through both of the freshwater pumps that I have. I'm so disappointed on this thing. I bought it in May and look what happened already. Like in the first weeks, I tried to get it exchanged because I think that's, I mean, they're kind of expensive, and I was so happy because that was the only shining thing on my boat for a while. I'm gonna make a new try because it's really not okay. I'm gonna wipe this clean also. Don't want water on this because when it's freezing it's gonna get hard to open. So I think this is gonna use the can because this will be difficult enough. I'm so focused I can't talk at the same time. So this would be 4 liters. That should be enough to fill the hoses and have water running for both of the pumps, I think. And the good part is, apparently it's just to rinse the tank when you ever want to use it, and you don't have to think more about it. Now we're gonna take the rest indoors. I think I have to mix this better because I can see all the stuff is at the bottom. Let's see what we have. I think this is working. Pet bottle. It smells kind of interesting. Should do it. Since I emptied the tank as much as I could last time, it has to build some pressure, I guess. It's working kind of hard. Should start coming something that looks green. Oh, it does. Green water is coming. Yet another thing I want to do with my boat is to put some diesel stabilizer into the diesel system to avoid both to have water inside and bacteria, some algae and stuff like that. So I'm gonna pour that in, and then the engine should run for 15 minutes. This is as far as the winter preparation is gonna go right now. And if you like this episode, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you like to support the making of those episodes, you can now also buy me a coffee. I hope I see you next week.